You know that expensive car we have? I've decided to give it as a gift to my parents. What? Both mom and dad are really happy. Wait a minute. Did you buy it intending to give it to your parents from the start? Yes, that's right. If you oppose this, we're getting a divorce. What a divorce. At that moment, something that had been pent up inside of me crumbled. Fine, let's divorce. My name is Nicole, a 37-year-old office worker. I live with my husband Mike and our 7-year-old daughter Becky. My husband and I both work, so we don't struggle financially, and our daughter is growing up healthily. Although we have a relatively happy life, it's not like I don't have complaints about my husband. He always prioritizes his family over ours. It's good to care about one's family, of course. However, he often puts his parents before our daughter, which I don't find amusing. Even when our daughter was about to be born, he acted this way. When I went into labor, I called him at work, telling him it looked like the baby was coming soon and asked him to come to the hospital. But he replied, "Sorry, I just got a call that mom burned her finger, so I'll stop by their place first." I couldn't believe he would prioritize his mother's minor injury over the birth of his own child. Apparently, his mother just touched a hot pot, and it was fine after cooling it with water. Both his mother for calling him for such a minor thing, and him for rushing to her side seemed ridiculous to me. This wasn't the first time things like this happened. On our daughter's first birthday, it coincided with his parents' trip. From what I heard, they asked him to drive them. So he prioritized driving his parents, and instead of coming back to celebrate our daughter's birthday, he decided to stay over with them at the hotel, since there was room for one more person. I couldn't believe he would prioritize a trip with his parents over our daughter's first birthday, and this incident only deepened my mistrust towards him. Such incidents happened often, but I couldn't easily decide to divorce him. I still loved him, and I hesitated to separate our daughter from her father so abruptly. Although he prioritizes his parents, it's not like he is indifferent to our daughter. I believe that eventually, he will prioritize her. However, from the time she was born until now, he has never celebrated her birthday. Celebrated her birthday with me. My daughter thinks birthdays are celebrated by moms only. I once thought of inviting his parents to celebrate our daughter's birthday, but they declined, saying it was too much trouble to come over. It takes about 2 hours by car from their place to ours, but my husband doesn't find it bothersome to visit them. Declining our invitation felt very selfish. Moreover, his mother is truly self-centered, often saying she wished we had a boy. She doesn't dote on our daughter at all. I told her to have a son. I feel betrayed. We can't choose the gender of our baby, and I don't think having a boy is that important. It's not like my husband's family is some prestigious lineage. His mother is just old-fashioned and fixated on having a male heir. One of the reasons my husband doesn't celebrate our daughter's birthday with us is probably to appease his mother. He values his parents above all, especially his mother, whom he can't seem to defy. When I attended a Christmas family gathering at his parents' house, I was criticized left and right. My mother-in-law seems to take great pleasure in picking on me, not just for not giving birth to a boy, but also for various other things. Why can't you be more efficient, Nicole? Look, someone's glass is empty. Why don't you pour them a drink? You should do this before being told to do it. I felt like I was being treated as if I was in a brothel, constantly being ordered around by my mother-in-law. She always made fun of me in front of the relatives. It's a shame that my son, who is so accomplished, has such an inadequate wife. Even her job is just simple data entry. I can't believe she doesn't get bored typing away all day. I've repeatedly told her that I'm an engineer, not a data entry clerk, but she never seems to understand. Moreover, there's nothing wrong with data entry. It's a respectable job. I don't see why she belittles it. She seems to intentionally ignore our daughter while giving gifts to other kids during Christmas. My patience is also wearing thin with my husband, who does nothing to stop her. How can he laugh and go along with his mother's words when she's belittling his wife and treating their daughter unfairly? To top it all off, he once said in front of our relatives, "My wife really can't function without me, you know?" He's always trying to show off or look cool. While I don't want to deprive my daughter of her father, My feelings for my husband are slowly fading amidst all this. One day my husband surprisingly made a request. "There's something I want to buy," he said. "What is it?" I asked. "A car," he replied. "At what? A car?" I was taken aback because he had never shown interest in cars before. "What's gotten into you all of a sudden?" I asked. "I just thought I'd upgrade things a bit. You know, I always drive when we visit my parents, right? So I was thinking of getting a new one. Given where we live, I rarely drive since everything is close. I'm not particularly interested in cars, so I thought I'd leave the decision to him." "Well, do as you like. You're the one who will mainly use it after all." After saying that, my husband looked pleased but soon started acting agitated. The main point is, I'll choose the car, but I was hoping you could handle the payments." "Is that okay?" It seemed he wanted a car for himself, but couldn't afford it, and was asking me to pay for it. In reality, my salary supports our household, and I've never really relied on his income. When I was on maternity leave, he didn't contribute to our finances either. That's why I resumed work soon after giving birth. But, being an engineer, I negotiated with my company to work remotely. When our daughter was small, I juggled childcare with work. Considering my husband mostly spends his salary on himself, asking me to bear the cost of a new car seemed selfish. However, when he's in a good mood, he does play with our daughter more. So, I agreed. "Alright, fine." "Really? Thank you." Once the decision to buy a car was made, my husband joyously started browsing car catalogs and researching online. Given I was the one paying, I thought I'd have my say. "It's just the three of us, we don't need a big car." "Yeah, you're right." But the way he responded, it was unclear whether he was really listening. And then he frequently visited car dealerships, apparently talking to salespeople. 2 weeks later, he said he was ready to buy the car and took me to the dealership. He was visibly excited throughout. And as I sat waiting as instructed by my husband, the dealer representative approached us. "Thank you for your purchase. Here's the vehicle and the contract." I was shocked when I saw the car the dealer presented. It was a large, luxurious minivan. "Wait, are we buying this?" I asked. "Yeah, isn't it amazing?" It really gets me excited. "Hold on, I don't think we need a car." "A car this big, if you think about the future, a larger car is better. We might have another child in the future." Despite my husband's insistence that he's not at fault, I was stunned. Even if we had another child, the car would be too big for a family of 4. "Are you serious about buying this car?" After my repeated questioning, my husband looked annoyed. "What's your problem? You're being persistent. You're even confusing the dealer. You said you'd leave it up to me." Then it's settled. We're getting this." My husband then signed the contract. The dealer started explaining the cost, and I was taken aback when I heard the amount. "Hold on, we can't pay that in one go. We should get a loan, or something." "Fine, whatever." My husband was adamant about the contract being in his name, so we arranged a loan. From now on, I would deposit money into my husband's account for the car loan payments, and so we purchased the car. A few days later, the desired car arrived at our home. "Wow, this is amazing. It looks so cool." Seeing how thrilled my husband was, I thought maybe it was all right. But then an unexpected incident occurred. It was on a weekend. My husband had the car keys, so I thought he was going out and called out to him. "Hey, are you out?" "Yeah, I'm heading to my parents' place." "Oh, I see. Leaving our daughter behind to visit his parents again." "So you took that car?" Then, to my surprise, my husband responded cheerfully. "Yeah, I've decided to give this car you bought to my parents." "What are you saying?" "Both Mom and Dad are really happy about it. Of course, I intend to ride it every time I visit." "Wait, were you planning this from the start?" "Yes, that's right." "You've got to be kidding." "I agreed to pay for it, because you said you wanted it." "That's the point. I knew you wouldn't agree if I said it was for my parents from the beginning. Of course, it's ridiculous to prioritize your own parents so much." "No matter what you say, I've already bought it." "Haha! The car is under my name, so I'll do what I want with it." "If you oppose me, let's divorce." "Why, divorce?" At that moment, something that I had been holding back inside me broke loose. Although I had grievances against my husband, I had always kept myself restrained, thinking of our daughter. I believed that even though he prioritized his parents, He also cared about me and our daughter, his own family. But now he was saying he could easily discard us for the sake of his parents. It was unbelievable. Oppose him and he'd divorce me? How dare he say that? I'll make him see that he's the one who'd be in trouble. Fine, let's divorce. Huh? I've had enough of being controlled by you. Go back to your mommy and daddy, you little boy who can't grow up, haha. I deliberately spoke in a provocative manner. As expected, my husband became furious. What? You're making fun of me, aren't you? Fine. Let's divorce right now. I'll go get the divorce papers. Huffing and puffing, he went to the municipal office. I hurried to pack my things up. I also called my parents, explained the situation, and asked them to pick us up. I instructed my daughter to pack as well. Before long, my husband returned. I've brought it. Sign it. He had apparently filled it out at the office, and his signature was written so heavily, perhaps out of anger. I calmly signed my part. Alright, I'll submit this. Please leave. Even if you don't tell me, I will. You're the worst wife ever. He left with loud footsteps. How did I end up with such a man for so long? It would have been better to separate sooner. But no point in regrets now. I'm grateful we could part ways, and will work hard as a single mother from now on. After my husband left, my parents knocked on the door. We quickly packed up with their help and headed to my parents' home. Meanwhile, I submitted the divorce papers, and our divorce was finalized. It's just a piece of paper. But after submitting it, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders. A week after the divorce, I saw the luxury car my ex-husband had bought, parked at my parents' house. I was just returning from grocery shopping, and it felt strange and uncomfortable seeing it there. Entering the house with my daughter, I saw my ex-husband and my former in-laws in the living room. My mother, noticing us, took my daughter to another room. When I entered the living room alone, my ex-husband, looking flustered, addressed me. Nicole, what about the car's insurance? He asked, looking quite agitated. Why are you here? I'm not comfortable with this, I replied coldly. At this, my former in-laws raised their voices. We didn't want to come to a place like this either. We came because of a situation we couldn't handle on our own. Why am I the one being yelled at? My father, seeing the former in-laws raising their voices, calmly voiced his displeasure. Then can you please leave? You all are now strangers to us. Do you know I could call the police and have you thrown out? At this, the former in-laws became quiet, looking frightened. Hey Nicole, tell me what's going on with the car insurance payment. I couldn't help but sigh. Did you forget about the contract we made? You insisted on having the car and loan under your name. You'll have to pay the insurance yourself. Hearing this, the faces of everyone from the former in-law's side went pale. The ex-husband had made choices that were detrimental to him, all for the sake of his pride. Well, from the start, I never wanted that car. It was only natural for the ex-husband to buy it under his name. Not being able to pay for it was his own fault. Upon further discussion, it seemed the ex-husband and his family got carried away with the luxury car. He drove recklessly and ended up crashing into a guardrail, damaging the car's front significantly. I recalled that when they arrived, the car was parked in a way that I couldn't see the front, so I hadn't noticed the damage. In essence, they came to me, who had been handling the payments, to inquire about the insurance. The car, being owned by the finance company, must be repaired immediately, and if it's not insured, he'll have to pay the entire repair cost out of pocket. On top of that, there would be compensation for the guardrail damage. I wonder how much repairing a luxury car would cost. It must be a significant amount. In the end, the ex-husband and his family returned the car and were billed for hefty repair fees. The ex-husband then sent numerous emails, pleading for reconciliation, mentioning that he couldn't afford his rent or utilities and had moved back in with his in-laws. But after this incident, since he was driving when the accident happened, he was severely blamed by his parents. Currently, he feels awkward at home and wants to move out, but he has too much debt to live alone. Now he constantly says he wants to see our daughter. I find it too convenient and refuse to let him. I refuse to let him. I have been ignoring my ex-husband's emails, and of course I haven't told him about the new place where my daughter and I live. My only concern was whether my daughter would miss her father, but to my surprise she doesn't seem bothered at all, and is living happily. From now on, I am determined to work hard to protect the life I share with my daughter.